One of the weird things about people is that we work super hard for money but then waste it on unnecessary stuff at the end of the day. We complain that we don't have free time and yet willing to work for months to afford something we don't need. This Wall Street Journal article claims that the average American will have to work about 2 to 3 months a year just to make the payments on a new car with insurance. I'm not surprised because I see that all the time. Ask yourself, how much money did you have crossing your hands in your entire life? I'm confident that it's a lot of money, but how much of that money did you save? That's where the problem starts. Probably not much. That's why so many people are in such a dark financial situation. You know how they say, it's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep. If you're making $10,000 a month, but you have to live in a super expensive city, pay a fortune to get to your job, and then pay a fortune just to have the same food that actually costs pennies, that's not real wealth. I can say that from my experience. So to start my journey to financial freedom, I started cutting my expenses. This was one of the best things I have ever done, since budgeting and stop spending money on unnecessary stuff was my strategy to finally start investing. It doesn't sound like a creative strategy, I get it, but you don't have to be super creative to save money. All you have to do is to take a look at how you're wasting your money and stop it. It sounds so simple, and yet most people don't do that. So I want to share with you 7 things I stopped buying to finally find the money I needed to start investing. So give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm and let's jump right into it. Number 1. Cars are the biggest money wasters of all time. When I bought my first ever car, I was super excited. Finally, I'm on wheels. I've wanted this for such a long time. No, I did not get a loan to buy the car. I paid cash and I was proud of that. Little did I know that the real cost of owning a car is going to come later. First of all, if you're a fresh driver like I was back then, you're gonna pay a fortune in insurance. Then there are parking fees, gas, and time to time you have to change things in the car because it's a car and it breaks down. Maybe in the first year you're not going to spend much, but as your car gets older, your expenses start to rise. So if you live in downtown, do not own a car. Just use an Uber, public transport, or whatever. Buying a car only makes sense when you live outside the city, or you have kids that you have to drive to school every day, or you have no other choice but to own a car to move around. Other than that, if you're a young teenager or an adult who doesn't have kids, for God's sake, don't buy a car and save yourself a fortune that you can invest. Number 2. Don't buy the stuff you need if they are not on sale. There are things you want, and then there are things you need, such as toothpaste, toilet paper, shaving stuff, and the list goes on and on. You're not going to wake up one morning and suddenly stop cleaning your teeth. So there is a list of things you need to lead your normal life. So one of the best habits I have developed is to try to buy stuff I need when they're on sale. Yes, I buy bulk. And whenever they are not on sale, I don't buy them. Every now and then there are going to be discounts, because that's how store works. Their suppliers deliver them products every week, every month, and the store has to get rid of that merch before the next merch arrives. So the best way to get rid of your current products is to put them on sale and let people like me finally buy them. I think it's one of the best ways to save money because you know that you need these things anyways. All you have to do is a little planning. Just create a list, wait until they are on sale. It's like stocks, you wait until there is a correction and then you go all in. Same applies to clothes. Don't just buy clothes whenever you want, but rather buy whenever they are at a discount. Clothing stores work pretty much the same way as grocery stores. Once the new collection arrives, they try to sell them to as many people as possible. But usually, there will be some leftovers at the end of the month or the season. So, before the new collection arrives, they will put them at a huge discount, like 30% off or 50 or even 70 in some cases. That's when you should buy clothes. It's not going to save you a ton of money if you do it once or twice, but once you turn it into a habit over a long period, it is going to save you a fortune. Number 4. Coffee. Let me ask you something. How many cups of coffees are served a year? 1 billion, 10 billion, 100 billion cups? Nope. 146 billion cups just in the United States alone and over 400 billion cups worldwide. Literally, 1/3 of coffees are served in the US. It seems like there is enough people who are ready to pay $4 or $5 for a cup of coffee. No wonder why this industry is so huge. Coffee has been ingrained in our culture so deeply that we are now comfortably paying so much for something that costs less than 50 cents to produce. Of course, the cafe has to pay wages, electricity, rent, and a lot of other expenses. So it makes sense to buy a $5 coffee if you're going to spend hours sitting in that Starbucks doing whatever you have to do. But to pay that much money just to drink a coffee is insane. I don't feel sorry for people who complain about living paycheck to paycheck and yet comfortably spend that much money on a coffee. Number 5. Unhealthy snacks. This might sound a bit controversial because everyone loves sweets, and saying to people to stop buying sweets is not something people would take lightly. However, the problem with almost all sweets is that they're unhealthy and expensive. Going to a Starbucks and getting a coffee with a super unhealthy slice of cake will cost you as much as a healthy lunch. So, if you stop wasting your money on unhealthy snacks, you're not only going to do a favor to your health, but also to your wallet. What could be better than that? Number 6. I stopped giving loans to friends. I remember when I was younger, I was quite naive. I thought that people genuinely would give you back your loan and would be grateful if you help them out when they need that help desperately. But it turns out that giving loans to friends and family means either your money is lost, or your money will be returned years later, or you will have to keep reminding them because they will never return it on time. And that's not an experience anyone would enjoy. I've given thousands of dollars in loans to friends, relatives, and in 70 or 80% of cases, they would even forget that they owe me money. I had this friend back in college, he could not pay his rent, so I loaned him a few $100. First of all, he never gave me back that money. Secondly, every time I would meet him, he would act as if he doesn't owe me anything. I'm not a greedy person, but if people help you out when you need that help, have the decency to return that loan back. Number 7. Alcohol. $15 here, another $20 or $30 there doesn't seem like something you should be worried about. You're having fun with friends. That's what you should care about, right? But have you ever stopped to add up what you spend on drinking in a week, a month, a year? Or how about in 10 years? Have you ever done the math? Probably not. But if you think about it, it already seems like a huge number. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Americans spend about 1% of their gross annual income on alcohol. For the average household, that's $565 a year, or $5,650 in 10 years, or $22,600 over a 40-year period. At first glance, that might not seem like a lot of money to many of you, but you have to know that $565 per year breaks down to about $11 a week, which might be the cost of a single drink in many cities. So it's not fair to compare to the average cost, because regular drinkers usually drink far more than $565 a year. Some even go as far as spending more than 10% of their income on alcohol, and then complain that they're living paycheck to paycheck. I personally don't drink because I don't see any value in that. I don't see how that possibly could make my life any better, especially since I work every single day. So I can't risk drinking because it's not just about that night, but you will need some time to get back to your routine. Based on what I have realized, these are the 7 things that most people waste money on. If you could just change your habits a little bit, if you could pay a little more attention to how you spend your money instead of randomly buying stuff you want, if you just wait for that discount or don't buy a car if you don't need it, if you make your coffee at home or stop eating unhealthy sweets, just imagine for a moment how much money you can save in a single month. Suddenly, you will have all the money that you need to invest, that you can put in the stock market or save for a down payment to take a mortgage. It could be whatever, but it's certainly going to be far better than blowing it up in a single night at a bar just to have fun with friends. By the way, we have a second channel where we post short clips from the main channel. I will appreciate if you guys head to that channel and subscribe. And now, give this video a thumbs up that it deserves and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Thanks for watching, and until next time, don't forget to check out our second channel.